My father claims he's actually trying now, but I don't believe him. Story time. So very long backstory, etc. Bear with me. Now 26 from the age of 7-18, grew up homeschooled without electricity, running hot water nor any connection to the outside world aside from the friends I got to see at church every Sunday. I have not been healthy since I contracted Lyme's disease at the ripe old age of 12. Heart problems, seizure disorder, Lyme's disease-related joint, muscle and nerve pain combined with nearly constant migraines. I used to be close with my father before then, or any way you thought I was, 'cause I was the only female of the four of us that wasn't squeamish about gutting, butchering, etc. any freshly shot deer, squirrel, or whatever fresh road kill my father managed to find. I helped him with the cars 'cause my hands were small enough to help the nuts and bolts he couldn't. I knew how to change brake pads, brake boot, oil, and tire before the age of 11, but after I had turned 8. Those activities alone were the only time he would spend with me, unless he was chewing me out over the schoolwork that I asked for help with because I didn't understand it and Ma was sick. My second eldest sister, oldest still at home, helped as much as she could but was at work a lot, helping my parents make ends meet. Now that the major part of the backstory is done, I got into an abusive relationship when I was 21. And long story short, after being verbally abused for 2 years, it actually turned to my ex pushing me down the stairs and licking me while he called me a lazy bee *TCH and claimed that all of my physical pain was in my imagination and that no wonder I was single for 6 months before he started dating me because no one else would want a stupid bee like me anyway. After I begged him to call the ambulance, because I had hit my head on the ceramic wall at the base of our stairs when he pushed me and lost feeling in the entire left side of my body before he kicked me in the face, and the reason why I was unable to protect my face from his kicks, he finally did. He told the 911 operator that it really doesn't seem that bad, but I just figured we should be safe 'cause I care about her, you know. But the cops showed up with the EMTs, and he became belligerent and tried swinging at the cops, I heard later, because at that time I was losing consciousness. Long story short, no contact order was issued by state and my mom took me home to her state where she fed me through a straw, my jaw was broken nearly through, and checked on me every 3 hours on the clock. I'd had a small brain bleed that had stopped, but I was still high risk, and so had to be checked in regularly for cognitive responses. My parents were, fortunately, legally separated at that time, and due to her health issues she is unable to work, but still took care of me day and night for an entire week. First time I heard from my father after this, he was notified of it all day of, was 3 days after the incident, and he supposedly came to check on me. He isn't allowed into my mother's home due to court, so I sat in the deck because he claimed he wanted to check on me. But he spent the entire time sending my brother into Ma's garage to get his belongings that he'd already had 5 days before the official separation to grab the prior month. He gave a half $1 attempt at, "Well, are you doing better now?" or "Glad you're safe," in between the verbal instructions he was giving my poor brother, who by the way not only messaged me throughout the days, but had also stopped in more than once a day since the incident. And that was the only interaction I had with my father after nearly dying for the 4th time in my life. Previous near-death experiences were due to my health issues. Fast forward, I stupidly got the no-contact order lifted and went back to my ex. Fast forward even more. After the first few months of being back with him, my ex started ignoring me completely though we lived in the same house. I was working 5-6 days a week, 9-11 hours a day, and still buying food, puppy pads, etc., and caring for his 2 dogs, along with my own 2 hamsters. Did his laundry, cleaned up his garbage, and bought cooked for his 14-year-old brother when his mom was working nights. And after all of that, you would finally sit down and watch TV and fall asleep with my dish of half-eaten food on the bedside table, only to be chewed out every weekend for how nasty my side of the bed was. 1/2 years after the incident, and nearly 9 months of me talking to him and him looking me in the eyes, then never answering it, even acknowledging I exist, he said, I need a break, you should move out. So I left, not knowing if I would have to live in my car in order to maintain my job. My ma lives 2 hours away in a different state, or where I would go. I left everything for this manchild. Left my medical alert service dog with my ma, 'cause he claimed he was afraid of large dogs. He absolutely loved his friend's pit bull/husky that was larger and more aggressive than my calm golden retriever lab service dog, and laughed when the pity mix bit me in the face. Moved to a state and quit my job as an assistant teacher in my state, and also had been methodically cut off from my friends but because he said they were exhausting or disrespectful, etc. 'Cause they told me they didn't think I was safe. I should have listened. His only friend that I actually got along with, because he's a decent human being and treated me like a sister for years. He cut off because when my ex told his friend he hospitalized me, friend's first question was, is she okay now? And my ex thought that as his friend he should have first asked how he was doing after his night in jail because of it. I stayed friends with him after my ex cut him off because not only is he a decent human being, and one of the only ones who didn't laugh at my ex, putting me in my place, but also, I had gone through grooming academy and actually found out that one of the dogs I groomed regularly was his mom's dog, lol small world. After my friend took me in, I was already emotionally removed from the man who had ignored me for nearly a year, and my father barely checked on me as was. My new roommates, my friend and his roommates that all took me in, told me more about my ex's past relationship. What he had led me to believe, his ex had cheated on him and is bi, so that's supposedly why he was so controlling over me, because I fall in love with a person no matter the gender. But cheating is not in me, nor will it ever be. I'm, unfortunately in that case, loyal to a fault. I found out that when they were in high school still, my friend and his roommate were both in high school with my ex's girlfriend, showed up to school with a black eye, and tried to break things off with him because he was hitting her. But he wouldn't leave her alone until she slept with her two friends, male and female, in high school, and then he considered that cheating and finally let her go be free. Needless to say, we were already officially separated on a break, but apparently when he went to visit his fuck buddy in Georgia, he thought I wouldn't know, and so I finally, officially, said that we were through and I refused to be used anymore. He begged me to stay after I grabbed the last of my things, and I looked him dead in the eyes and said, I wanted to stay. You kicked me out. This isn't on me. This is what you yourself did, then left for the last time. Before I had said that, I told him how, after he had claimed he would check on me more than once a week, just like my father. Via text after he made me homeless, he didn't reach out or even check on me for 2 friggin' months. And that he really opened my eyes to how little he actually cares about me. He kept saying he just wasn't right in the head RN and needed to become worthy of being with me before he contacted me or saw me. I had to go around his schedule to get my things from his house because he claimed he couldn't look me in the eyes. Yeah, no, SHT. You should be ashamed of how you treated me. After I officially broke things off with him, I had already been so far removed from feeling connected with him that I may as well have been broken up with months ago when he refused to speak to me for nearly a year while I cared for him daily. Paid for his food, his dogs, his soaps and razors. So only 3 weeks after the official breakup, I started dating my best friend due to both of us finally realizing our connection was better than friends, and we were always there for each other. My at the time friend had just broken up with his ex the week before I did mine. She had done the craziness of how similar our exes are, same thing to him that my ex had done to me. We were both so ostracized by our own, significant others, for so long that we had more understanding beyond the fact that our personalities are a lot alike in some ways. Fast forward, and I am now married to my best friend, and my ex successfully got his checklist of having a kid before the age of 26, 'cause I don't want to be old when I'm a father, with his GF of 6 months. I asked my boyfriend to marry me. He said yes, and we had the courthouse marriage that both of our traumatized butts wanted because other people suck. My father is verbally abusive still, and I have had to go low contact. So he was not there for it because we refused to allow him into the good parts of my life when he wasn't there for the hard ones. We are going to have kids eventually, but fortunately we are in the same mindset of not having a timeline and just appreciating the life we are making together now. What will be, and we look forward to the future. And for once I know for a fact that the man I am with will not abuse whoever I give birth to. I would be lying, though, if I said that feel a certain amount of guilt for finding happiness just a few weeks after the worst 312 years of my life. My ex messaged me, for the first time since he made me homeless, a couple weeks after I started dating my now husband. He said, "How are you doing?" And I told him actually really good. I started dating again, HBY. He had always told me for years, especially when he kicked me out, that he would always want to keep me as a friend even if I found someone better. He said, "Well, not good now. Lose any and all of my contact info, F***KU. And I replied, "If that is what you wish for, I will respect your opinion. Goodbye." In actually still friends with his ma and uncle because they love me and genuinely check up on me to see how I am doing. They are so loving. Which brings me to the fact that they seem to genuinely care more for me than my own father. I blocked his phone number, though none of his social media, because I figured if he actually gave a single DMN he'd try and reach out to me via any means. For little over a month, and he finally reached out after 6 months and one of my hospital visits. He wants me to meet his new girlfriend, but I don't want to put in as much effort as I did before. My replies are short. I don't feel any connection to my father anymore. How am I supposed to feel after he failed me in the previous 4 chances I gave him after the age of 19? Am I the asshole for refusing to help my mum get a car? I'm not really sure where to start with this one, so I'm just going to give some context first. Fake names throughout for anonymity. Me 28F and my mum 48F have never been super close. She did what she thought was best as I grew up, but there were many instances where she wasn't the best mother. Currently, I have 5 siblings: Buttercup 29F, Bubbles 24F, Kale 17M, Kate 14F, and Bob 2M. For some fun examples of interactions between my mother and me. We lived with one of her boyfriends when I was about 8 years old, who was a DJ on the side and would host full rave parties in our backyard. People would use various substances, and myself and other kids would be locked in a room with some toys and told to amuse ourselves as they partied the night away. She had told Buttercup, and she would have unalive herself if not for Kale when we were 11 and 12. She would regularly trauma dump on me and my siblings like we were adult friends of hers, would change partners regularly and change homes just as often. Don't get me wrong, she made sure there was food in the fridge and we almost always had a roof over our heads. I know that she is better than some parents, but I'm also old enough to understand she's just a narcissist who never should have become a mother. I'm sure you can understand why we aren't really that close now. So, life is long and complex, and after this and that, I am actually looking after Kate in the very literal, I have adopted them kind of way. This is due to my mum going through a regular cycle of needing someone to need her, child, boyfriend, etc., then getting sick of them and wanting them gone. Kate is in regular therapy, and we still have issues even though they've been in my care for about 5 years now. Though in my opinion, they are definitely much happier and healthier now than they were back then. I put my life on hold, moved cities, and became a parent, despite knowing since I was a child I never, ever wanted kids. I am living that single-parent life now, and the housing market in my country is insane at the moment. My house manager wanted to up my rent by almost $100, so we have had to end our contract by the end of the month to move. To add to this, because life just sucks sometimes, my car literally died about a month ago. Well, it could be fixed, but the price of repairs wasn't going to be worth it, and where I live public transport sucks, so I need a car to get to and from work. So without one, I would definitely lose my job. Naturally, being neurospicy myself, and looking after a neurospicy child, this wasn't easy. The constant looming deadline of having to pack up and move, having to find a new place, having to apply for finance after finance to afford a car. It was and still is a lot. I have very fortunately gotten the car and just signed off on our new contract for a small unit we will be moving to in about 2 weeks. I struggled a lot during the past 2 months, but I am essentially low contact with my family and didn't really let any of them know. I have some local friends and friends overseas who would let me vent, but I'm a person who won't often let on just how stressed I really am. But I now own a second-hand car, which is probably the nicest I've ever owned, despite being a very common brand and model. The struggle to get approved for a finance comes from some stupid choices made as a teenager and a bad but recovering credit history. As you can imagine, the stress of losing my car, then getting a new one, followed immediately by having to sort out moving, has been a lot. Sometime through this period, my brother Cale called. He was also in my care for 3 years, but has since moved out to start his own life. He was updating me on this and that, and is a true pot stirrer like Buttercup and Bubbles. He brought up to me that our mum might call and try to ask me for money, which wasn't new really since it happens every so often. But I laughed it off and explained I didn't have any money to give at the moment since I've been going through a lot. He understood, but said she would probably reach out anyway to ask me to get a loan in my name for her. Admittedly, for a moment I was glad I had just had to get one for my own car since thanks to that, I had an easy reason to say no other than, I don't trust you. I thought that would be that, and that I wouldn't hear from my mum about it, since Cale is known to exaggerate and would probably pass on my refusal in a more intense and over-the-top way. But it turns out I was very wrong. Maybe less than a week later I was at home after a busy day out with Kate, sorting out some items from the dollar store to make her an outfit for book week. Feeling socially drained, I had gone upstairs to boot up a game on my PC when I noticed a missed call on my phone. It was from my mum, and I honestly considered ignoring it, but she had left a voicemail asking me to call her back. I hesitated before calling her, and she did the usual "how are you?" before suddenly jumping into, "And what happened to your car?" After me explaining, she went on about how she needed a car since hers broke down, and she was sick of borrowing others' cars or sharing with her partner. The guilt-tripping of how she always had a car, even if nothing else so, she had the freedom to up and leave whenever she needed to began. My mum is a very skilled narcissist, and it took me a long time to really notice and accept that. She is very talented in making you the problem and herself the victim in any situation. Being a parent was an accessory to her rather than a responsibility. And yes, I have been to loots of therapy and am to this day still medicated to deal with my own trauma. I explained repeatedly that I am also in a tight spot financially, and that I understood how much it sucked to not have a car. Despite my subtle but clear indications that I was not in a position to do so, and how I had to ask around several places before I even got the finance for my current car. My mum asked if I couldn't ask for another finance to get a car for her. She went on about how she would pay me back, how unfair it was that her mother and brother wouldn't do it for her. Then, when that wasn't working, pressed me about how much I earned, and how I would be able to have 2 loans and a job like mine. I kept politely turning her down, and I think she got the message, but she kept that call going for an hour talking about her boyfriend and his children. I don't care about. I'm a pushover, I guess, and feel that letting her do that sometimes stops her from calling more. But after the call, I felt physically ill. Honestly, I would be happy to never talk to her again, but I stay in touch for Kate's sake, and also just because it seems easier than going full no contact. Anyway, hopefully that's enough context. My question for you, Reddit: can anyone think of any other nice enough ways to tell her no if she asks again? I do like my mum, but I am in no way considering doing this for her. I don't want to be a jerk and flat out say I don't trust her to pay me back, but honestly, I wouldn't do this for her even if I did. Taking out a loan in my name for someone else is something I flat out would never do, and it's wild to me that she would even ask me to do so. Am I the weird one here for being so against it? Any thoughts would be appreciated.